Hello everyone and welcome to the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. It's me, Captain Logan. Joining me as always is my co-host and sidekick, Austin. Austin, are you the law?
I am the law. So I rewatched this again in the summer. I showed it to my youngest brother.
Oh, really?
And I had and I had this moment like, oh my god, I forgot that they had I Am the Law in this movie. And I'm so glad that they kept that.
Yeah, did they throw that in just as an amusing throwback, or does that show up like frequently in the comics, or is it just like an iconic enough moment somewhere in the comics?
It's probably in the comics somewhere, I'm
sure.
Surely, but then, like,
surely it is.
That's such an iconic moment of that movie, that first one too. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so this is going to be horribly unprofessional of me, and if you're just listening and not watching, you won't even know what's happening, but this is going to drive me crazy the whole show. I left this light off behind me, and I've got to fix that. This is going to drive me nuts.
Oh.
Okay. Well, now I can continue. Now I'm good.
15 years in the ISO cubes for that blunder.
Yeah, but if I was a teenager, I'd go to a juvie cube. And I want to know what exactly is the difference between an ISO cube and a juvie cube. I kept wondering about that, because I was like, if we got a sequel, I imagine we would have actually like visited the ISO cubes and seen what exactly that was like. You know, it's kind of fun leaving that up to the imagination. But the juvie one, I would assume, has to somehow be less traumatic. You know, like a little bit easier to deal with. So what is it like? They just let you play Fortnite in there? Like, what is it?
I assume it's just the same, except everyone there is kids.
Oh, that's the distinction? Well, why would it matter? They're isolated anyway. It's in the name. Like, it would make no difference.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily you're isolated to yourself. It could just be like, here's the ISO cubes where all the criminals are, so it's just like a regular prison. But you're isolated from society.
Okay.
You can see it that way.
I'm dumb. That makes sense because Mega City 1 is in cubes anyway, which is a thing I didn't get as much from the movie as doing a little bit of research about the comics, because they visualize it a little bit differently in the movie. In the comics, the city is like a bunch of blocks stacked on top of each other. And in the movie, they said they tried that, but everything looked too small. So they had to space them out or you wouldn't be able to tell what you were looking at. And that's why they changed it. So, yeah, you're right. I always imagined it as ISO cube, like you're stuck in a kind of like a little box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. I assumed it was probably some sort of big prison building.
Yeah. Anyway... well, I'm excited to watch and talk about Dredd with you, Austin. This is a movie that I liked a lot in the theater and never bothered to watch again. And I don't know why. I think I had seen this movie exactly one time.
Oh, wow. For some reason, I thought you did it on the old Rewind.
I know.
But I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, I never did. I did the 95 movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one.
Which was oddly fun to write about. Like, obviously, that's not a good movie, but it was fun to write about.
But I still need to see it. It was on my list of movies to watch for the top 100, and I just didn't get around to it.
I mean, you
there
could
was a
still
couple
watch
movies
it.
like that.
I'm sorry, you could still watch it for the 50 worst.
Yeah, but knowing my sensibilities, I don't think I'm gonna hate that movie. But we'll see.
It's not likely that it would show up. So, as always, or as often with the Rewind Project, we're jumping all over the place. We're not doing things in any kind of production order or even necessarily chronology. So, we're doing Dredd. Before we do Judge Dredd, we did a regular poll for the Rewind producers, and this was a movie that I just kind of felt like finally going back to, and so I put it on the list, and that's what was selected this time around. So thanks to the patrons for picking this, because that was the thing I was really kind of hoping would win. And it seemed like a decent October movie. Like it's not really a horror film necessarily, but you know it's dark enough. It's well enough in the vein. It feels like a good time of year to watch a thing like this.
Fall kind of movie.
Yeah. So
that's fair.
So you said you saw it again somewhat recently. Is this one that you went back to very often before that? Just real quick, like what was kind of your experience with this, or history with that?
Not especially. Like I've seen this a handful of times, but it's not one I ever really think to go back to a ton. But I have seen it a couple times.
As I'm getting older, I'm finding that, you know, obviously for movies I like, that one of the big factors in whether I should put it in a stack of movies to go back to a lot, Austin, is length. So this movie only being an hour, and like the older I get and having a lot of kids, I just don't have as much time to watch movies. So like I should make a list of hour and a half long movies that I like. Those will get watched more often. Because I actually have time to look at them.
Yeah, you got a little bit more time. Yeah, and I forgot this wasn't a full 2 hours.
Yeah, so did I. And I remembered it being real economical and real efficient. I mean, the way this thing is put together, it feels like it was to coincide with the personality of the protagonist. Like, this is the way he would make this movie. It's just so efficient.
Yeah, this is the type of movie, too, that I don't think you would want to stretch out to be that long. Like, it really doesn't need to be.
Not with its premise.
Like, by design, well, that's what I was going to say, is by design, this is like a video game premise.
Well, and that was a thought I had, too, where it felt like I was watching a video game movie not based on a video game. And I was like, this is weird because this isn't based on a video game, but real action-driven video game movies should be looking at this movie. Like, they really should.
It's like I said to you off camera, the thing that pisses me off the most about this movie is that every time I see it, I'm like, man, Karl Urban would be such a good Doom guy. And then I stop and go, oh yeah, he was in that awful Doom movie.
That's so funny. Yeah, I've never seen that. Why did I think that was The Rock?
So, The Rock is like the face on the poster, but Karl Urban's the main character.
Oh, so he is in that movie, but so is Karl Urban. I've never seen it, so I didn't know that. Okay.
The Rock is technically the villain, but
okay,
not from the start. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, we'll go ahead and get into it. We're just reviewing it before we start. I have a tendency to want to do that with shorter movies like this because I'm afraid we're not gonna get everything out that we want to say. This came out in 2012. It's crazy that it's been that long. Austin, we're not getting too many years away from where we'll have as many years between Dredd and now as there were between Judge Dredd and Dredd. And it's entirely possible that the new movie that was just announced, which frankly I hope doesn't get made, but if that ends up actually happening, it'd be really funny if it came out 4 years from now, and then it would be exactly like 17 years like the last one in between.
That'd be great. Well, hopefully it takes them that long to make it, like just through like how much improv they have to do, you know, with Taika Waititi being at the helm. Like it's a really long shoot, so it drags out.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, that was recently announced, or this year sometime, which I missed, but Taika Waititi is apparently supposed to be directing a yet another reboot of this. But we've had lots of announced things with his name attached that haven't ended up coming to fruition, so I would take that with a gigantic grain of salt.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. All I know is
that's also wishful thinking. because I just don't want that to happen.
All I know is my prediction is that he will be the Rob Schneider of that movie, where he's like the comedic duo to Judge Dredd that gets brought along for the adventure. And we can have a part where he screams, "I am the law," and then he falls down and goes boom.
Yeah. I want to show you the release I have of this, as I often do, Austin. This one is weird. I don't know where I found this. This might have been like a $5 bin at Walmart purchase or something. I do have this on Blu-ray, and it does have all the features and menus and everything. This is actually a pretty cool looking release. I like the menus with this one a lot. And at the start of a period where we're already starting to get to like kind of crappy generic Blu-ray menus. So I appreciate what this one looks like. But I have this as a double feature with another movie that I've never seen that is not comic related. So we have Dredd, and then underneath that we have Nicolas Cage's Drive Angry.
Weird.
I don't know
what a strange pairing.
I don't know what these have to do with each other except that they're violent action movies. I don't know if Drive Angry is as rough as
Lionsgate.
Is Dredd? Yeah, probably both Lionsgate. That's a good call.
Who knows what they do?
Nope, they're not both Lionsgate.
Oh, okay.
Drive Angry was released by Millennium.
Huh.
So I don't.
Well, I don't know then.
Yeah, I can't explain it. But it's hilarious, which is partly why I bought it. It was cheap, and I always thought that was just really funny. So, Drive Angry is one of the only not superhero movies that is back here in the superhero movie collection, just because it's paired with Dredd. That's also true of some Jim Carrey movies, to be fair, because I have The Mask in a 4-pack that was with just other Jim Carrey movies.
There's released other Jim Carrey movies, though. Like, we laugh at the, Man of Steel, Black Adam co-release, but that would be like if it were, I don't know, Black Adam and The Notebook. Like,
I was gonna say
know.
Mrs.
Like,
Doubtfire or something.
Yeah, like, why did we throw those two together?
All right, let me throw the clock up here. Make sure to get to timestamp 0. And if you're watching it on the Blu-ray, there is like a chapter before the regular chapters. So make sure that you're looking at the actual timeline and at timestamp 0, because there's a Lionsgate logo even before that. And get ready to press play now. I don't think this is streaming anywhere, Austin. Or I'm not sure. I didn't look. Where's it streaming there?
I think it's just on Prime. Maybe it's on like one of the. No, it's just on Prime here.
Google claims it might be on Max.
Okay. Yeah, I had to download it so I won't get ads.
I'm not sure. I didn't check this beforehand because I've got it on disc, and I don't have as many subscription services as I used to. So anyway, but so check Max, it might be there, and I didn't see Prime, but different regions might have it on Prime, so check that. Yeah. And anyway, we're gonna go ahead and watch Dredd. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. And thanks for being here if you're watching live. As usual, you can leave a super chat any dollar amount, and that guarantees that we will talk about an aspect of the movie that you would like us to talk about. We'll try to interact with you as much as we can in the comments. Is Lionsgate still using this exact logo? I feel like it's never changed.
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel like it also hasn't changed, but you put me on the spot, so now I'm like, I can't remember the last Lionsgate movie I watched.
So the opening voiceover monologue that we're going to get with Karl Urban here with Dredd, which I think is pretty excellent. Like, a lot of these things, I feel the need to bookend with with voiceover like that. Actually, I don't think he talks at the end, though, does he? Is this one bookended, or is it just right at the start?
No, it is bookended.
It is bookended. Oh yeah, no, that's right, because the idea is that it kind of demonstrates his real subtle character arc, right? Like, he's in a little bit of a different place at the end than he is at the beginning. But what so it's handled a lot better than a lot of these, but I do find it unintentionally funny in a couple of places because we get to hear Karl Urban as Judge Dredd say Mega Blocks, and that makes me laugh.
I love Mega Blocks.
I'm gonna build things with Mega Blocks.
You knocked down my Mega Blocks. Now you get 10 years on the ISO cubes.
Mega Blocks! Mega Highways. It's just, like I said, efficient is kind of the name of the game here. This opening monologue establishes tone really well. It gives you the kind of heightened, exaggerated sense of reality. There's a little bit of a purple proseness to it, and it's easy to lock in right away, where that never feels silly and hammy with this movie, I don't think, at all. And it also establishes the major stuff that you need to know about the world and the mythology here. So if you have never looked at Judge Dredd at all, it's not like dumping a bunch of history on you. It just gives you the big stuff that you need. And like the Cursed Earth is brought up right at the start, never comes up again, doesn't really matter, but you just have a really good sense of, oh, okay, the world outside was ravaged by nuclear destruction, and there's this huge city that goes across ridiculous amounts of land, and that's really all you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. No, and we're not going to touch some of the bigger, like, sci-fi stuff of Judge Dredd, so... Because this is very, like, Batman, post-Batman Begins Judge Dredd.
No, that's true, and I miss some of that stuff. To Alex Garland's credit, though, who wrote this and arguably co-directed it and put a pin in that. We'll talk about that later. This should be considered, according to Karl Urban, and I believe him based on everything I've read, this should be considered his directorial debut. And Karl Urban's performance is what it is because of Garland, and he was on set all the time, and anyway, he was way more hands-on than writers ever are, and this movie is the reason he had a directorial career, it seems like.
Okay.
The very next movie he works on, he directs, and he directs like the next 5 projects he does right after this movie, so it's really interesting. But to his credit, he wanted to do that stuff, and they just didn't have the budget for robots and aliens and mutants and that kind of stuff.
I did know that this is kind of like a like pitch of concept in a way, in that we make a smaller budgeted film so that we can then make a bigger sequel.
Yeah,
I didn't know
right.
that that's part of this movie.
Yeah, I like calling this proof of concept. I'm with you there. I was going to suggest that this is... So, you're right in post-Batman Begins. I didn't think of it that way. That's true. But that's for the sake of utility before it's because they're afraid they can't sell it that way, I think. I think if they'd had $100 million, you would have seen some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think you'd still would have had at least, like, the very kind of Nolanized post-Batman Begins look to it that we have here, but no, you're probably right. You'd get some more of that stuff.
Especially
I do think that's part of what hurt it, though. I do feel like, especially at this point, people are starting to get tired of that. I also remember at the time people complaining, like, oh, they're making a dark reboot of Judge Dredd, that, like, silly 90s movie.
Yeah.
I do feel like that did kind of hurt it, though.
Yeah, I did want to speculate a little bit about why we think this movie didn't perform. But real quick, I wanted to say, I think, and the point you made about Batman Begins made me think of this. This movie, to me, is kind of one of, if not the consummate setup films in superhero movie history, and it's unfortunate because it sets up movies that never get made. But it's the antithesis to, like, an X-Men 1 in that it's a great way to establish this world and set everything up. Like, to me, it is a setup movie, but it also is telling a story, and it stands on its own. And it does this really cool day-in-the-life kind of story.
That's interesting because I was going to say the same thing, except for the setup part, where, and like I get where you're coming from in that, like I said, the kind of proof of concept thing is in how it's a setup movie. But I think what helps is that it's so self-contained as that day in the life that it just feels like, oh, you just picked a random issue up.
Yeah,
So like, I watch this and I don't necessarily need more. Like, if we had gotten more, it could have been really great. But like, I'm not left wanting more. Like, I don't
yeah.
feel like this movie's hurt by not having
And
that.
and that's fuel for my fire, Austin. That's how effective it is in using the day in the life thing and just you're making it feel like a graphic novel out of any kind of context. And I do think this is structured very much like a graphic novel or a miniseries. This could have been just as effective as a comic book, uh, which is great. But I know that Garland's original script was really mythology heavy, and he wrote this gigantic Judge Death story, and realized, and this wasn't the studio telling him, no, you can't do this yet. You have to make a setup film first. This was him writing it and then going, oh, wait a minute, you have to know way too much about Judge Dredd to be able to
Yeah,
follow
I knew that
this.
was supposed to be the sequel.
And
It
so,
was the Judge.
and so
Bad
he
Dad
wrote
stuff.
this literally to be a setup movie. And then he was going to come back later, he was hoping, and do either that script or something else that would build on this. But you're right. Like when I walked out of this, I went, it would be really nice if they made more, but I don't feel like I have to have that. So in making a thing that he thought like an initial prologue material that he thought you needed in order to see the story he really wanted to tell, he ended up making a good film that stands all by itself. And that's why I think it's consummate setup movie. I can't think of another one that does that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's a good point. No, I was thinking about this too today, and I don't like the show, but it's almost like an episode of like a Sherlock or something, where it's like instead of like a 40-minute thing, it's you have an hour and a half episode, and this is kind of your we're in one location, one.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a bottle show, and you can tell that, or at least it kind of watches like that was done partly to save money, or like we know how much of a budget we're going to get for this, and so we've got to come up with a premise that's not too grand, and most of which can take place in one location. What's really respectable about it is that we don't go there in the first 5 minutes. Like it's pretty early in the film, but you do get a decent enough sense of scope before we go there, which is great. And you get a sense of like we're putting a pin in stuff. You get a sense of some of the other locations we could maybe explore down the road. I
Yeah, well, and I like too. You get the line in a bit where Judge Dredd says, there's this many crimes, there's this many judges. We can only tackle about 6% of them.
yeah,
So that also like really hits in that day of the life thing, in that this is the one they just happen to be on, but like say like 40% of those crimes maybe could have also been their own movie.
that line
It's just
is that one single piece of exposition is shockingly important for everything the movie is doing, both thematically and story wise and world building, because it gives you the exaggeration and some of the satire just in it, where it's like the reason we have essentially this police state where the police are, of course, judge, jury, and executioner, and you would think that with this system, they'd be able to quelch a lot more crime than they can, and like that's how overrun they are. That they have this totally fascistic system, and they can still only take care of 6%. Like, think of how much more efficient their justice system is than ours, where you have people on death row for like 20 years, and here the judges can just walk in, and if they declare you guilty, they can just shoot you on sight. And they still can, like, nobody even goes to trial, and they can only take care of 6%. It tells you everything.
Well, especially because everyone on the payroll is RoboCop.
Yeah. Well, and you keep getting ahead of lots of things I want to talk about. This movie is really interestingly connected to RoboCop in a number of different ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're definitely really looking at RoboCop, and we get a couple of, just flat out references in places.
Yeah, it's structured a little bit like RoboCop, and it especially has that kind of pacing. Both of those movies, hour and a half, and they get in and they get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if we were going to reboot RoboCop, which obviously we did just 2 years after this, this is the kind of thing it maybe should have been. Like, especially, like, I don't know why you would do an origin for RoboCop again.
Yeah. No, you're right. That should have just been, we already know where he comes from. Well, that's the big difference between these movies, right? Is that one of those looks massively studio meddled, and this one doesn't look like the studio was even paying attention to them, and that was good for the movie and ultimately bad for selling it. Mm-hmm. Because Karl Urban lamented real hard in interviews after this that nobody knew it was coming out, and that's why it didn't sell. And I think he's right about that.
Yeah, well, and I think they just didn't know how to sell it too, because they also, like, every trailer made it seem like it was like a gimmick movie where it was like kind of trashy 3D. Like I said, gritty reboot of Judge Dredd. Like, it looked like they were advertising a movie that nobody wanted.
Yeah, well, and the only reason I went was because it was superhero. I mean, you're right. It didn't look especially great based on the trailers. I also think you're spot on in what you said about people being kind of tired of the Begins thing, the Nolan thing. This is the same year Rises comes out, and that couldn't have helped it either.
And Amazing Spider-Man, which also got criticized with that too. That's why I'm saying, like, I feel like we're at that point. It's not as bad as it will be when we get to RoboCop.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we are at the point where people are getting a little tired of that.
I mean,
like I said, they also sold it really hard on just, I don't know, it's got 3D effects. 3D.
They made way too big of a deal out of the 3D thing. I don't know if you know this, but the whole thing was shot with 3D cameras. And it almost felt like that's why Lionsgate was making it, was just to try to get on that bandwagon. And I feel like we were already kind of getting past people caring as much about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two movies were probably both criticized, some for being in like Amazing Spider-Man especially. Taking their cues too much from Nolan, but it also couldn't have helped that his last Batman movie was the same year. Like, you're also competing with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and Skyfall's that year, and obviously Craig's Bond is very inspired by Nolan.
That's looking at that really hard too. Yeah. So this is maybe a good example of wrong time, wrong place.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's wrong place, wrong time, wrong place. No, and this is also the year, I don't even think it's a full year after the raid, and I think it also got criticism for that, even though it literally couldn't have been stealing from the raid.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm. Because that's also like a big action movie in like one building.
So just getting more into the actual movie,
yeah.
Like I said, it's nice that we get to spend some time outside of this like gigantic high-rise community before we go in there. Again, I love how exaggerated it is that they have a 96% unemployment rate. I love how over the top it is. One of the things that's, well, and I was also, sorry, I've got so many things I want to talk about. I was also going to say that it's just nice how, again, efficiently it sets up its premise. So, like, we already understand this world well enough to start playing around with it. We've already established without realizing how important it's going to be to the rest of the plot, we've already established our kind of plot device drug. and with the slow-mo and the way it slows things down is already kind of establishing some thematic ideas, which you might not pick up until you see it a second time. But you've got a world of people who don't live very long, and because it's so violent, people get killed all the time, and it's a world where where like it's so hustle and bustle and everybody's like moving constantly, so you can see lots of different reasons that people would get addicted to a drug that slows things down and makes things more peaceful. I thought that was a really smart idea. Like I don't think that's an arbitrary choice.
Hmm. No, exactly. I agree with that, and like that goes also into just how it was sold, and that they made that feel like so much more of a gimmick. But then when you get into the movie, it's like, okay, there is a little bit more going on, and just visually, it does look really cool.
Yeah, and they worked crazy hard on making that a memorable original sort of effect. They
Mhm.
use time lapse cameras like nature shows with like hummingbirds.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Like yeah, it's crazy what went into that to make that whole effect work, and I think it's an easy thing to take for granted, and it is not an easy thing to do. And
Mhm.
I just respect, after watching so much like slow motion just for stylistic effect in superhero movies, particularly Snyder stuff, that when we do it here, it's for a real specific thematic reason.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
say
exactly.
thematic, and so that we can just experience what the people are going through when they're on it, both euphoric and terror. Because the idea of getting put on that right before you're dropped to your doom is just terrifying. It's a
Mhm.
fantastic
Oh
idea.
yeah. Mhm. No, we passed it a little bit too, but I just wanted to mention with Dredd as a character, I liked a little bit with him with the homeless man, where we're already kind of establishing that there are cases where he will kind of bend and not be as by the book. Like he doesn't stop and just arrest that guy in the moment. He's like, if you're gone, you're gone. By the time I get back out, I do think that is important.
It's really important, and again, it's
Mhm.
intentionally subtle because that's
Yeah.
apparently. And I've not read Judge Dredd in comics more than like a couple of issues. But apparently that was always kind of the idea with that character, is that he's supposed to be uh, this like good man in a terrible system, and so he does a lot of things that would bother you because of the system that he's in, but like deep down he actually is a hero, or would be a hero if he was in any other kind of reality. And the other thing is he doesn't have real easy character arcs. If you read a lot of Judge Dredd over a lot of time, he changes incrementally. And this movie does a really good job of capturing that, where he has a character arc, but it's really subtle,
Mhm.
contrasted to Anderson's, which is much more of a kind of traditional sort of character arc.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. No, and I think she's also like one of the characters that's kind of always stuck around in
Hmm.
the comics too.
Yeah, like her arc is about understanding the difference between the law and justice, and his is
Mhm.
that too, but just much more subtle, and he doesn't go as far as she does, because he it's not like he's going to turn his badge in at the end.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about this more when we get there, but I also like that it's a bit ambiguous about whether or not she would continue being a cop at the end.
I think that's her riding away at the end.
Yeah,
So like, I think she is still.
but I could see her coming back. Is the thing, like I could see, I think she is leaving, but
No, no, I mean
Dread.
like she's going off into duty at the end.
Oh, you
Uh,
think? Oh, see, I
mhm.
thought the idea was, she gives him her badge, and then he passes her technically, but you're supposed to wonder if she would come back or not. Was how I always
But
read it.
I think the shot after that is her walking to the bike and driving away. Is it not? Is it?
Well, yeah, but I didn't see that as she's going back to duty.
Well, because she's walking in with like all these cops that are setting out for the day, and then
Okay. Is the idea that we cut and some time has passed and she has her badge back? Because
I assume it's just the next day. Like it's
okay,
that day of the life thing.
I'll watch for it. I missed that.
Mm-hmm. Like I could be wrong, and maybe it's supposed to be Dredd, but I thought it was supposed to be her.
No, I do think we see her, but I thought she was just leaving the place. I didn't think she was going to duty necessarily. I mean, you're right. I guess it's weird if she takes one of their bikes. Like, I didn't really think about
You
that.
never know. Now she's a criminal.
One of the things I appreciate most about the slow-mo effect is all the sparkles.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that does a really good job of visualizing what a drug trip is like. We're like,
well, and just going back to what you're saying about like how miserable you are, like
yeah,
in this area, and then you take this, and it's like not only is it everything's just kind of slowed, you know, you're kind of out of time, but everything's also like nice and sparkly too.
yeah. Well, and when you take particular hallucinogenic drugs, or even if you just get hit in the head really hard, right? Like you tend to have like flashes in your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, it's the plural with the isocubes that gets me. Like that's what makes me think. That's what makes me imagine a bunch of little ones that all these different criminals are in, or inside of individual ones.
But I also feel like with how big this prison or the city is, you couldn't have just one. There's probably multiple prisons.
Oh, that's fair too. Yeah, and they're probably all stacked on top of each other. So like prison is just cubes.
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah, well, this is why I do this with a co-host. Like, I don't always know what the hell I'm talking about.
You could also be right. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. It's vague.
Yeah.
I'm sure people who are like really into the comics can probably tell us, but
well, this viewing had me really want to go back and look at some of that material.
Yeah, and I've been meaning to for a long time because I feel like I'd really like these comics.
I really clicked with it, like, and I liked it a lot in the theater. I thought this held up even better on multiple viewings. I watched it twice for this, and still am maybe missing something that's happening at the end with her. We'll watch for that, but that never seemed like the kind of thing that would be my bag. And I don't know what it was with this viewing, but I got a lot more curious about how some of this is handled in the comics. And also, I wanted to read some of the, like, bigger stories. Because I've always been curious about Judge Death and stuff like that. And there's some, as you might imagine, big, epic, you know, like multi-comic arcs. And I'd be curious to take a look at some of that material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, I know there's trades that are like the full complete Judge Dredd, and they're on to like number like 50 something. Like they're like really far.
Oh, it's insane! Yeah.
It.
So we should mention that this is sort of monumental for me and Austin in that one of the first things we ever reviewed together was the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and we were looking at Sarah Connor from that movie, or from that show, as our villain here, and I did not realize that's who it was until I looked her up. I thought this was Nina from 24. She looks a lot like her, and she sounds a lot like her, and then I was shocked when I realized that it was, what is it, Lena Headey?
Yeah, Lena Headey.
Or Headey, pardon me.
I mentioned that too in that video, because I think I say like, well, I'm not used to seeing her not be a villain.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like I feel like that's like more against type as her as Sarah Connor. Well, this is more in type, but at the same time, she's playing like a slightly different villain. So like she's still really good. It's not one of those cases where we just went, you can play villains, play a villain, and we don't give them anything.
No, she's wonderfully menacing, and you can tell. Like we don't know a lot about any of these characters' backgrounds, and that's one of the things that's really effective about it, is that you just buy in. You just buy that there are complex histories for these characters, and we're sold that in the moment without having to get into a lot of backstory. And you get more, of course, for Anderson and for Mama than you do for Dredd, because he's a complete blank slate. He's supposed to be totally mysterious and kind of your consummate stand-in for what the law is supposed to be, and then again constantly questioning if the law matches up with the idea of justice. And so the humanity that comes with that character is in, again, incrementally figuring out that the world that he lives in is, or the rules as they are not sufficient, that it's not entirely black and white as he would like it to be. But anyway, so like she seems like Mama. She seems like a like easy mustache twirly sort of villain, but there's always stuff going on behind her eyes. Like you can tell that she's a product of the world that she grew up in, and in that way she's textbook sympathetic. And the same is true of Anderson, because she is also kind of a product of the world that she was brought up in. She was raised by the state, and thinks that at first that the law is righteous, and then very quickly discovers that her understanding of like her literal empathy sets her apart from the other judges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think too. I mean, Mama's just like not annoying Harley Quinn, but also
That's great.
Given given what Garland wanted to do with this, with the Judge Death thing, I think as a setup film, it's also really cool that we went with a villain that's really imposing and that she can just like throw things at you, but she's not like a physical threat. And I think that's really cool with this character. And then obviously, if we had that sequel with Judge Death, you'd then have the complete flip, where then you go in the other direction.
The movie has the distinction of having one of the only really great female villains in superhero movies. And
yeah,
I think that's a real risky move for this movie. Like, it's not really what you would expect.
Mm-hmm. No, very true. I mean, this is the year before Iron Man 3, where Shane Black was told they couldn't have a female villain because they don't sell toys.
Yeah, like studios are afraid to do that. And, I mean, I guess in a way they were right, because this movie didn't perform. But we could talk about it more. I think there's lots of reasons for that.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's more so kind of some of the stuff I was saying earlier. Yeah. But
we can finish that real quick. I think you're right that they didn't sell it right, and I think that Urban's right that they didn't sell it enough.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, and this is more of a question mark, is how much did the '95 movie affect that? I think more than maybe I gave it credit for back when this came out, because Judge Dredd is one of those things that if you're in the comics, you know the iconic status of that character. If you're not, you're right. It's probably like Blade, where you think that character was created for that movie, and you think this is the dark and gritty remake, which is so bizarre because it should have been dark and gritty in the first place. Like, that's what it is.
But also at the same time, I think you have twofold. You have it where people who don't know the comics are going, like what the hell is this? This doesn't look anything like the old movie. Why are we remaking that? But also, the comics aesthetically are closer to that 90s
That's
movie.
right.
Like there is a better adaptation somewhere between them. But so you'd probably also have a lot of comic fans going like, "Oh, like why, why does it look like that?" You know what I mean? Like you probably have a little bit of both.
That was that was really the only frustration I had with this is the Judge Dredd. What little I know about that character that I've seen in comic panels and covers and stuff is just this giant muscular behemoth. And when they put out the trailers for this, I was like, why did they slim him down like this? And for the world they're creating and the story they're telling, it ends up making a lot of sense. I like it would be impractical to have that massive of a Judge Dredd in a thing that's not even more like cartoonish and heightened than this. Uh, but I might have liked to have seen that too. Duncan Jones almost made this, and
Okay.
the reason he ended up bowing out of it is because he wanted to do something bigger, more over the top, and more like dark comedy, which is not incorrect necessarily. And I think what he would have made would have been a lot closer to what I imagine the comics are like, and
Yeah.
especially like the earlier stuff and the stuff that 2080 did, as opposed to anything we did
Yeah.
here.
Well, and he would not have had that Garland like, oh, you can't make the Judge Death movie first thing. He would have just jumped
He
straight
would have
into it. I've
just
seen
done
his
it
Warcraft.
for better or worse. He would have done it just like Warcraft. Yeah, that's right. Garland was like, well, we can't have the giant eagle on his shoulder because he would risk stabbing himself in the stomach on every mission.
Hmm.
And like you can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, that's where it goes into that kind of like Nolan-y, like they have to be wearing like Kevlar jackets and stuff like that, and like not to say that you can't do like the more tactical version, but like it is very different. Like you are doing a like grittier thing.
I do appreciate that it's at least true to the spirit of the character and the concept of the world and all of that. Like it is a real exaggerated dystopia.
Hmm. Well, it reminds me a lot visually, and this also had that like post begins thing of Warzone, and this isn't as silly as
I've
Warzone.
never seen that.
Warzone's a much sillier, like Punisher Warzone.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry.
Punisher Warzone. Pardon me.
Um,
No, yes,
sorry, no, I should have said the full title.
this is not exactly in that vein. Yeah. Well, you've seen so
I was
many action
thinking
movies.
it's
I
silly,
haven't. I just
but,
assumed
like,
that was something I've never heard of.
but like the way we visualize the costume is very similar to how Warzone visualizes the Punisher costume.
No, that's a good point. Well, if it's split in the middle, I think it's doing it pretty effectively. Like, like I said, I would love to see something like broader and crazier and more out there. Uh, but I think this is a fine interpretation.
Hmm. No, I agree with that 100%. I would be interested to see like an adaptation that splits the middle,
Yeah.
but like as a movie, I think this movie's really great.
I could also see the complaint, especially for big fans of this material, that it goes too far in the other direction, which is kind of what you're suggesting, where it's like the first movie looks more like the comics, but it's just too silly, and then this one goes, well, we've got to really, really streamline it, uh, and so
Yeah, and
they're
like I said, a
going,
lot of that.
no, but he never takes his helmet off. It's Judge Dredd. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they're nailing now that they didn't originally. But maybe there's an overcompensation that happens that wouldn't have if somehow this had been the first attempt at this.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's not to say that Dredd fans would watch this and hate it, but I do feel like that's part of why it didn't do well. Like you do have kind of both sides looking at it from the outside, and I feel like that would be an easy opinion to have.
Yeah, and not to repeat myself, but I also don't think anybody looked at that trailer and expected it to be anything like as good as it is. And I think one of the reasons that it's remembered as fondly as it is because it just surprised everybody in the quality of it.
No, it's kind of like instant cult classic status.
Yeah. Let me read the super chats real quick. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat says Anderson is really cute. Really hope they bring her back. I mean, they're never gonna make another one of these, but I also know the joke thing
Maybe
you're
Taika
doing.
Waititi will bring her back.
Maybe so. I No, I think her performance is spectacular in this. Like I think
Yes, I do too.
she's just fantastic. She's wonderfully likable and sympathetic. I was gonna say this earlier. I really like the the way the telepathy is handled in this. First of all, it's a way to give us that mutant idea without actually having a bunch of makeup and crazy looking mutants, and I missed that. I wish we did have some of that stuff. I also feel like if you'd gotten more money for a sequel, obviously they wouldn't have, but you know, if things had worked out better, there's no reason they couldn't have gone to other parts of town that just had more of that kind of stuff. And there's talk about it. Like somebody mentions, or I think it's this prisoner they carry around through a lot of the movie, that mutants usually have like too many arms or not enough arms, and so maybe eventually we would have seen more of that kind of stuff. There's a comic panel I saw in a behind the scenes featurette about the history of just the Judge Dredd comics. It's on the Blu-ray, and I recommend it for that. It's a good documentary. I wish it was longer, but there's good stuff in it. It shows a panel that's like a guy with one eye and a hand and an arm like sticking out the top of his head. They got all kinds of crazy
mutants. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love the irony of the mutations created by the nuclear fallout that almost destroyed humanity. That gives someone a superpower that helps to kind of bring our humanity back or show someone how human we really can be, right? Like she has like I said earlier, like this literal empathy where she's able to see what people's motives are deep down, and she can read people in a way that Judge Dredd can't, and that helps her like understand when people really deserve to be punished and when they don't. I think the thing with the guy that she saves at the end is arguable, and we can talk about that later. Just like whether or not that guy should be responsible for any of his actions, even though he's under duress. Like I feel like in the justice system we have now, like he still would be held somewhat liable for some of the things he chose to do. And she just lets him go because that's true justice. Like I think there's an argument to be had about like whether or not that's actually justice or not. But for the sake of the story that we're telling, that's a good clear example of the difference between how law is handled in this world and how she's perceiving justice because of her ability. So I think it's kind of neat that like a mutation brings her closer to humanity. It's like humanity trying to reassert itself after we almost destroyed ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, I like how we visualize it, where it's almost like a spider sense kind of effect, the way it like blurs everything around. It's really cool. One of my favorite bits of levity also comes out of that, where they're in the elevator and she says, he's thinking about going for your gun, and Dredd goes, "Yup." And she's like, "Oh, never mind. He's not thinking about
that anymore." Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, just all of that.
General Hux here is like, I don't know, he's pretty like pathetic, and like they like cut his eyes out and stuff.
Yeah.
It's Oh, he's definitely like a victim in this, but obviously he's doing bad things because of that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that I don't think that that's a clear black and white thing.
Hmm. No, that's fair.
And like, if you think that, and I'm not even landing on it one way or another for sure. I'm saying there's a question mark to me because
Hmm.
if you think that he should be completely left off the hook because everything he does is under threat of torture and because he's been abused and stuff, then you're questioning I the justice system we have with that because I like regardless of I like some of the horrible things he went through, he would be, I think, held responsible for at least some of it with most juries in like in our country and in our society.
Hmm. Well, at least there's some sort of a back and forth where she lets him go, and Dredd's like, well, uh, he really shouldn't be let go. Like
Yeah,
that's grounds for dismissal. And
right.
she's like, whatever, I'm already.
But see, I think that the subtle conclusion of his character arc is that he passes her despite that, suggesting
Mhm.
that he's starting to
Definitely.
agree with her.
Hmm. Maybe like gradually. I feel like it's kind of everything all together. I think if it were up to him, he would have just arrested that guy. But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I do feel like it's just kind of this whole situation in general, especially with even how far like down he gets brought down, like um, just kind of everything all together here. Like the fact that she was even able to get through all of this is kind of the pass.
Well, sure. Yeah, that's fair too. Where it's like he's you could also read it somewhat as he's doing her a solid because she helped get him through this whole thing.
Well, like you said, it's very gradual character development. Like it's not like he's got like a full cut and dry,
Well, and like you said
now I
earlier,
believe in this.
he's showing us examples of empathy, and so like we
Yeah.
know that he's not just a robot. And speaking of that, that's one of the ways that it's that I think it's really interesting how this parallels with RoboCop. That you have, I like with that movie I mean that movie has a literal, of course, robot, but you have a kind of stoic, more robotic, if you will, cop that tries to go totally by the book, and he has a female partner, and it's an intentional choice to make her feminine, uh, because she's that's going to make her more classically empathetic. And again, we do that with the telepathy with this also. But this is sort of like if Lewis got more screen time.
Hmm. Yeah, she gets to be, the partner once he becomes RoboCop.
Yeah, where like if it was more about them as a duo in the first place, because this is arguably a dual protagonist movie.
Yes, absolutely. Which I think helps when, Judge Dredd's so locked off.
I'm jumping around a lot, but something else I meant to say earlier that I didn't get to is just everything about the way the story is initially structured is really compelling and and interesting and locks you in. And I like how you don't realize how some of the elements that seem to just be sort of dropped on you because they're fun and odd and interesting, I end up all coming together later. So I you've got this prisoner that we've got to carry around through a lot of the movie, which is right away just a fun idea because he's an extra added complication. Like, what they're having to deal with is already hard enough. We're locked down in this gigantic building. Everyone is after us. I mean, Austin, like, that's how you sell this movie. You sell it on the story premise, right? Like, you make it more of like a... Obviously, they're not in a prison, but you make it like a prison breakout movie. You're like, this is Judge Dredd. He's he's the law in this town, and now he's trapped in this building, and he can't escape, and everyone is after him. And then you just show scenes of people chasing him down and trying to shoot him, and like, the way I would sell this movie is make the audience totally forget it's Judge Dredd and just be interested in this as an action premise, because it's a really good action movie premise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like
absolutely.
apart from being Judge Dredd, set this now, make it just a cop. Like, think about this as an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie in the 90s. It's a really good premise for a cop movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it's similar to The Raid. This is also the climax of Punisher Warzone, where
Yeah.
they have all the criminals in the building and he's got to go up, floor by floor.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
I will say I like
very
this
much
better
so.
than that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just think
No, I mean, that's completely fair.
I just think it's a lot tighter.
It 100% is a lot tighter than that movie.
There's a surprising elegance to this. And it's also
that's true. That it's also Die Hard.
Oh yeah, good call.
I wasn't even thinking of that, but you're right.
Well, I guess that's an influence it's maybe wearing on its sleeve that I didn't even catch. That's true.
Well, it helps that he's walking around killing people. It's not like Die Hard. It's there's like 5 or so terrorists,
Yeah.
and it's more of like just trying to survive.
He's sneaking around a lot.
Well, here it's Die Hard with that kind of Schwarzenegger action movie that you were saying.
With a vengeance, as it were.
Exactly, he's die-harding with a vengeance, which does not take place in a building, because that script was a Lethal Weapon script converted into a Die Hard movie. But
anyway, what I was going to say about this prisoner, and I think this actor is really good. And sucks to be this guy. He's got to spend most of this movie with his hands locked behind his back. Like, I would hate to be this actor.
Oh, it'd suck.
But I like the reveal that he is the whole reason that Mama actually locks the building down. That she's worried that he's going to talk, and I mean, we get that pretty early. Like, it's not treated as a big like third act revelation or anything. But when we get it, again, it's kind of early, but it's a cool surprise. Because at first it seems like he's just there as this added complication, and it's like, oh, the fact that Dredd doesn't just kill him right away is the reason he's in this predicament in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Well, then that's also part of what makes it bigger than just, they stumbled on, like 2 crime murders or something.
Yeah.
It is a little bit bigger than that.
That's part of the stakes, but it's also part of Dredd's character development. Because he won't kill him right away because they're not 100% sure that he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
and I like the moment too where she kind of realizes like, oh, he's a liability.
Yeah.
And Dredd's like, he's just killed 3 people, or is at least a suspect. Like, are you really okay with just letting him go free? And they have that little moment of, we should probably hold him.
Well, and the question there for me was, I don't want to overthink this. She's probably just saying, he's a liability. What do we do with this guy? And Dredd says, should we just, what, do you really want to just let him go? And I wonder if there's a part of her that's thinking, no, I kind of want to do what you almost did in the first place and just kill him. But like,
screw it.
I get that we can't do that, because again, she is pretty sure that he skinned those guys alive and dropped them out of that roof. And especially after, because I think that exchange happens after the like mind freak thing that he does to her, and so she's got more reason to hate that guy. If
I think it comes before,
or is that
I
not
think it's like
yet?
right when I think it comes like around when they first start fighting people.
I also
So that
wanted
could
to
be
mention that I
misremembering.
love the scene where they go out on the roof. I think it's really cool that for a minute they're outside of here, and there's this sense of we could, maybe run off and be free right now. It has this kind of Arkham Asylum uh, affect to it there. And of course, I was thinking about that when I saw this on the big screen because I had just played that game and City had just come out. And this is that premise, right? Like we're just going through the asylum, and we're trapped in it. But you have that with Arkham Asylum where you're in the building for a good long time, and then there's that moment where Batman finally walks out onto the grounds, and the game is making this huge deal out of finally we're outside and we have a sense of the larger world again, and then it gets real, like foreboding and kind of coming down on you when you have to go back inside again.
Mhm.
Like, it's really cool that this movie does that. Matthew Bass had a $5 super chat and says this also has a great and very underrated female villain, which is still rare these days. And yeah, we did speak to that.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think too, and you said this is probably the best one in uh, superhero movie history, and I was trying to think of like, are there any other really good ones?
Well, see,
She's definitely up there, if
yeah,
not the
I
top.
I said she's. I didn't say she was the best. I said she was up there because I was covering my bases in case I was missing people. I'm having a hard time thinking of very many that are great female villains, and very often, of course, we do it to match female protagonists. Which is why it's kind of surprising here. And I think part of the point of doing it with this is, I mean, it gives Anderson a bit of a foil because again, these are two women that were raised in this horrible dystopia and this horrible system, and both in completely different ways. And so one has gone to law enforcement and is only there because she's a psychic and she's being kind of used by the police. And then the other one, oh no, you're right, it happens here. And then the other one is a prostitute and then goes through this horrible ordeal with a pimp and everything. And so, like I said, kind of dictionary definition sympathetic, where obviously she's horrible, but you can see how she got there. And I think it drives home the point of just how screwed up this world is, that you've got probably a lot more women in crime because statistically you usually don't have that many female criminals in your society. And I think an immediate tell of how far run down and awful your society is when that percentage goes up.
Well, she straight up looks like a Ennis Punisher villain.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and she's just so lost and far gone. I mean, like we've got her like getting high on her own supply. That's usually not a good idea.
No.
Like you can tell she is coping as much as she's trying to be a drug, like a drug lord, like a kingpin. She has power.
She's still
She's
very damaged.
yeah, exactly. She has power. She's wielding power. What she wants more than anything is probably just be left alone.
If these damn judges will just leave her alone.
And it's interesting that it's not even really a revenge plot on her part, like this kind of thing usually would be. Like you could say maybe she's lashing out at the world that created her by putting slow mo out into the world. I think it's more just she's an opportunist, and like she took over this existing business that already had that, and she's screwed up enough to know what it takes to keep that going. And so it's as much about survival as it is anything. Her being in charge makes it easier for her to know that she's going to make it.
Yeah. When also with it being a drug plot, it reminds me of RoboCop 2. I forget what the name for the drug is in that, but that's got like a similar thing like that.
Yeah, it's true. Do you feel like, in some critics complained about this with this movie, do you feel like Dredd could have used more of that RoboCop satire? Like, do you feel like it could be more about things? It could be more of a social commentary kind of movie, and B, do you feel like it could use more of that, like, broad levity that RoboCop has?
Oh, first off, Captain Coon, thank you. It's Nuke and RoboCop 2.
Oh yeah, I
I was
couldn't think of it
blanking on
either. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. As for that,
Nuke is what happened to this society in the first place.
yeah, exactly. Maybe not for this movie, but like absolutely, you could make a Judge Dredd movie that's more like full on RoboCop satire.
Yeah.
But like, if you add that into exactly what this movie looks like and how it feels, like it probably would have felt out of place.
I think so too. And I feel like a lot of the social commentary, and I would call some of it satirical, just in, again, how exaggerated it is inherent in the premise and the details, and that it doesn't need to
Yeah,
be.
it's more subtle.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be hammered home any more than it is, and I also feel like it could have felt more like a RoboCop clone if it had been trying too hard with that stuff. I think one of the things that makes it unique is that we're just delivering this simple story in this world, and all the things that it's commenting on are, again, inherent to those ideas. I don't need any big speeches, any of that stuff.
That's my favorite Dredd moment is when the kids pull the gun on him and they're like freeze, and he just turns and goes, "Why?"
Yeah, that's great. Well, and you gotta love his ingenuity. Like, you get the sense that he's been in these kinds of situations a lot, of course.
Yeah.
And I love that he knows exactly what to say to get that kid to move his gun for a minute. Like, you totally buy that.
Yeah. It also just reminds me of have you ever seen Seven Psychopaths?
No, I have not.
There's a scene where somebody pulls a gun on Christopher Walken.
I
and
have
they
heard
say
that
freeze.
of that though, and I know that it's not some other superhero franchise that I couldn't think of in the moment. I know it's not like Punisher, Seven Psychopaths, or something.
No, that is just a movie called Seven Psychopaths. But there's a scene where somebody pulls a gun on Christopher Walken and they say freeze, and he goes, "No." And they're like, "Why?" And he goes, "I don't want to." It makes me think of that. It's really funny.
I think that's a good story device. That's a wonderful shot. Like, the way Rule of Thirds is used there is great. With Dredd off to the left on the elevator, just pissed off that he just lost his partner. I think it's an excellent story device, bringing in those kids as a distraction, so that there's a way for him to lose his partner there. That doesn't read too contrived. Like, I can see kind of the writing in it, just because, I analyze this stuff a lot, but I feel like it's masked well enough, you know what I mean? Like, it is contrived, but I buy it. Like, it doesn't watch contrived.
No, and that's how we get to our lowest point and whatnot, like just structurally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to mention this too. Okay, great. Just mention it. But that's also a place where we're kind of showing how he will slack on things, where he doesn't just shoot those kids, he stuns them. Where, like, there is a morality there.
Well, and to be fair, we also don't know what all of the code is. We have to get that from Judge Dredd, who is, in a way, slightly an unreliable narrator, in that sometimes he might be interpreting the law, and in some places he might be going by the book like, for the most part, he's by the book, but obviously he's making some judgment calls. And in his mind, he's 100% by the book. I don't even think he would always own up to the fact that he's interpreting. And of course, that's the problem with this whole system, is how easy it is for judges to come in and have license to interpret any way they want to, and that's where some of the corruption you see later comes in. I like that they found a way to show you horrible, corrupt judges in this very simple premise where we're stuck in this building the whole time. Because I do think you need to see the other side of that to get a sense of just how like messed up the system is. Or like what
But
the
also,
what the big downside, what the big flaw is. Because without that, I almost feel like the movie is making I almost feel like the movie could come off like it was making a case for this fascistic system. What else do you do when the crime is run this rampant? Like, you can kind of see the judge's side of it. To some degree, where it's like, okay, in this world, like I said, you really don't want to have to wait around forever for court dates and stuff. Like, I kind of see that side of it. And then you see these corrupt judges come in and you go, oh, that's why this doesn't work.
But to bring it back to the kids,
I'm sorry,
we do know the exact. No, it's okay. We do know the exact code because they pulled guns and shot at them. And he said multiple times that attempting to kill a judge is an automatic death.
I know that, but the point I'm making is you don't know what the code is for underage. It could be different.
I don't think it makes a difference.
Well,
they pulled a gun and tried to shoot at
it
judges.
Probably doesn't, but it might. We don't actually for real know. And the fact that they have separate cubes for minors.
Mm-hmm. But he also doesn't arrest them. He just stuns them and leaves them there.
Well, that's true. But isn't that partly because he's got to run off and try to find his partner now?
Yeah, but I mean...
Like, that's priority. It's just like...
You could have tied them up right there.
Okay, so I have not had a whole lot in the way of criticisms yet. I think this is a really tight script. I'm buying a lot of what's happening. I don't understand why the vagrant in the alley doesn't listen to the judge and leave. It's odd that he looks really understanding, where like he thanks Judge Dredd and seems to really appreciate that he's not arrested right away, but he's still there when Dredd comes back. I'm like, why? And then he gets and it seems like he's only there so that we can have somebody get crushed by the doors that come down.
That's 100% the reason that he's still there, but I mean, if, like, you could also see it as just, like, he's got nothing else anyways, like, what does it really matter? Like, he's living basically on the street,
awesome.
like...
Just the fire in the helmet, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
No, cool. There is the question of where would he go, but if I was directing this, I would have not had that, facial exchange between them, that you know, kind of moment of understanding, because that makes it really weird that he doesn't leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then no one will get crushed.
And somebody's got to get crushed. The other thing I love about just this initial premise, where it's supposed to be just day in the life, but they're stuck in this insane building all day, and Dredd ends up doing this enormous drug bust that takes down one of the top drug lords in the city, is everything is so violent and horrible and corrupt in the city that you totally buy that that's just another day at the office. Mm-hmm. Like, because this is so exaggerated, nothing about that feels too convenient or easy. And in anything else it would. But like the fact that her first day and the first mission they go on is this should seem really contrived, and they do such a good job of setting up how awful everything is, you totally buy that.
That's what I was saying with the 6% crime thing. Like, a good number of those are probably just their own movie.
Yeah. That's why you need a Judge Dredd video game that's like the old Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation. where you're just driving around.
The people who made the RoboCop game to make a Judge Dredd game. Like that's so perfect.
After seeing
Give
this,
it to me.
I almost want that more than I would have wanted RoboCop. Now, I've not played that game yet, and I really want to, but that just seems perfect for a video game, dude.
Yeah, well, and the new one just straight up is this movie.
You told me
like a
that.
giant tower. It's a giant tower, and you're stuck in it, and you have to like clear all the levels. It's like when they released the trailer, I was like, "Oh, so it's Dredd." Like, I'm down for that.
Do they have a bunch of people that are all after you trying to get a reward?
That I'm not sure because I haven't played it yet, but
okay,
it is like probably.
I also like that not all the judges that show up as backup are corrupt, or are they?
Those first two weren't. They were just judges.
I was going to say, there's a couple that show up to help, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. People called RoboCop a ripoff of Judge Dredd at the time. I've never heard that, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It was probably just the Brits. They were like, hey, "Oi, you done ripped us off."
Well, I mean, there are some obvious similarities, and especially in the dystopian worlds, and in just how far gone the society is, and how it seems like we've completely lost ourselves as the human species, and the fact that you have a real no-nonsense robotic kind of protagonist who has his head completely covered except for his chin. Like, there's a lot of stuff. And that he's got, like I said earlier, a female partner.
And even though it's not RoboCop that says it, there is the "you have so many seconds to comply."
Oh, sure. And RoboCop easily could have said, "I am the law." He doesn't, but he could have.
No, just I had to think about it for a second. I was like, does he not?
I don't think he does.
No, I guess he doesn't. But he very easily could have.
Well, another thing that's interesting in contrasting just those characters.
Oh, you know why? It's because I have heard RoboCop yell, "I am the law." He played Dark Knight Returns Batman, where he says, "Tonight I am the law."
That's why you thought that.
I was like, I've definitely heard RoboCop say, "I am the law."
Because you heard Weller do it
in that movie.
That's awesome.
There it is.
But the other thing that's interesting in comparing those characters is that RoboCop, and this is why I've always said RoboCop is a superhero, that he has to go rogue and go against the law in order to obtain justice. And Dredd, like I said, is supposed to be the encapsulation of what the law is, and then he might be slightly changing his perception of that, but he's not going to go rogue. I'm sure there's stories where that happens, but that's not the main thing with him. Is like
but isn't that a thing that happens in the 90s movie?
It does, because of course it does, and that makes it feel more like a superhero thing.
Yeah.
And so then we can argue about whether this even really counts as a superhero movie.
Well, I still stand by Inspector Gadget counts because it's Kid RoboCop.
But like, this might not exactly count for pure superhero is the genre for the same reasons that people claim RoboCop doesn't, because it's like, well, he's just law enforcement. I'm like, yeah, but he goes against the system, and that's what makes it more superhero to me. This is a case where it's superhero because it's a comic name that we're familiar with, and because the world has some kind of superhero-ish qualities to it. But the actual character,
it kind of gets grandfathered.
It gets grandfathered,
even though it doesn't really count.
Now, a real far reach you could make is that because he's the veteran, kind of perfect cop to everybody, he's molding the system himself, and so to him, the law, he's all by the book. But in reality, what's really happening is culture of dependence, like a Superman or a '60s Batman.
Mhm.
That's
Well, he is the law.
that's
So,
the best. Yeah, that's the best stretch I can make. That he's a superhero because the world revolves around him, and because deep down he's heroic and cares about people. In a world where
he doesn't uphold the law. He doesn't work for the law. He is the law. Cap.
And none of these. Okay, this guy is dumb for thinking that he can actually use that gun. I don't know how you wouldn't know that.
Hey, maybe that's just not common knowledge.
So there are two. I just thought of this. There are two ironies in this scene. One of them is that that guy was handcuffed the whole time, and now she is handcuffed because she got unhandcuffed pretty quick, but she was handcuffed for a second when he died. And the other thing is, he's handcuffed most of the movie, and then he blows one of his arms off.
Yep. That, and it's insane that the gun does not blow her face off, considering it's like right in front of it.
Yeah, that is point blank range.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. Matthew Bass, $5 super chat. I think the movie is asking at what point do the police just become another gang fighting for control, which you can argue they have become. And you can also argue how else, with a society that's this far gone, can they even operate? Like, if you go look at, and that's of course not me condoning police state or anything. I'm talking about within the context of this insane, over the top dystopia. If you go look at Batman No Man's Land, this is exactly what the remaining cops in Gotham have to do. They become a gang, they pull together their own territory, and they do everything they can to try to reassert police dominance in the city, but they have to go up against the other gangs on their terms. What else do you do if nobody's going to follow the rules?
Well, and I think it works on, and RoboCop does as well. And like, there's a few things that have this, and it's the type of thing that I'm very interested in, which is the type of movie or story that can work on two levels and for two different separate groups of people, where you can look at this as the like cool, fun action thing, or as satire on all of that.
Right.
And it can work for either group, and like, I think that's cool, where you can watch this and be like, oh yeah, he's like the ultimate cop. He's gonna, bring order and justice to everyone, and kill the bad guys and always do the right thing. Or you can see like the kind of satire that kind of comes with that, and enjoy it on that angle too.
Yeah. This feels like a turn your brain off movie that when you turn your brain on, you realize there's stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I want to say, like, deeply profound, and it's not trying to be either. That stuff is just embedded in the premise, and it's a lot more interested in telling a story than it is about trying to, sway you anyway on any of these ideas. And when it is exploring, police brutality and urban upheaval and all of that stuff, it is giving you all sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that these cops are given clear motivation for why they've gone corrupt the way they have.
Especially in this city where they can only stop 6% of crime.
Yeah.
And this is a regular day.
Like, again, this is just storytelling 101 stuff where we understand very quickly why everybody is doing what they're doing, and it's real simple character motivation stuff. We easily could have just said, but like, mining for truth, like finding the humanity in it, right? So, yes, it is technically character motivation if you say these guys. I'm just going to go into boring writing talk for a second. If it is technically character motivation to say these judges are selling out in order to get 1,000,000 credits. I'm like, yes, that's motivation. They're greedy. They want money. Okay. But where you make them, again, dictionary definition sympathetic, where you can see how they got to where they are, and where you could see yourself on a bad day maybe making this kind of horrible decision, is when the guy gets into how awful it is being a judge. When he says, I've been on the streets for 20 years, it hasn't been worth it, this is terrible, why would anybody do this job? And he has his meat grinder speech, where you see just how like horrific this is, and we've already driven that home with the fact that this is her first day.
That's what I mean. Like, this is absolutely hell. This is just a regular day for being a cop in this world. Like, yeah, I buy that you can be a corrupt cop.
So this is kind of a fun moment, but this Lex guy, and I think it's funny that his name is Lex because of this, does not have all his wheels on the pavement. Like, he is really slow on the uptake. when Dredd's like, wait, and he just goes on and on about how stupid it is for that to be how Dredd is handling this, and they're just waiting. He's just waiting for her to show up and shoot him.
I like to just imagine this guy gives speeches at everything. He's giving a speech about this. He was just giving a speech a second ago. That's just how he. That's how he is. Same with Anderson shooting that other judge. That's me anytime playing a video game and I can kill an NPC. They're like, "Hello."
It's a lot funnier to me now because I wasn't thinking about it before. That guy dies the way he does, and his name is Lax.
Well, I also just like the pout that Karl Urban does when he's like, when he says wait, like he's given like a face like exactly what that guy's describing too. It's like he's also really playing into it.
Oh, that's true. Hey, I was going to ask you this. Is the voice that Karl Urban is putting on in this closer to what you wish Rorschach was in Watchmen?
Yeah, probably like a little, not as over the top.
Because I had that thought watching this where I was like, he's not doing the grunty, grovelly thing. He's just putting his voice at a lower register and
He reminds me of Pattinson Batman.
Yeah,
like
he's
a whispery growl.
Yeah, he's gruff. But he's not even a growl. Like, he's gruff about it, but he's not like, he's not grinding his vocal cords at all.
No. No, it's like a gruff whisper. No, and Karl Urban is one of those actors that, like, can't be typecast.
Yeah.
He's done so many different things and so many different roles and different kinds of roles. Like,
he does do a lot of action stuff, though. And I guess he...
Yeah, but, like, all very different.
Yeah, that's true. He did most, if not all, of the motorcycle stuff in this himself, apparently. Yeah, he said...
all that horse riding from Lord of the Rings. He was like, he ride a motorcycle.
Well, he said he was really against doing any green screen in this, which, like, thank God.
Okay.
But I'm also thinking, yeah, but he's mostly covered up. Like, it would be really easy to put a stuntman on a motorcycle.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I don't know why it has to be him all the time. I think he just wanted to do it. And again, he might have had a stuntman. I don't know. I just read that he did that because he didn't want a green screen. Mm-hmm. I also think it's really funny I mentioned this to you off camera, Austin, but I think it's really funny that a guy named Karl Urban got to play Judge Dredd.
Hmm. That's cool.
That just feels like fate, really. Something else I was going to say about her performance, it's impressive that they found an actress that's able to convey, uh, like, sympathy and also, I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. Like, there's a clear femininity to her. I made the same argument when I reviewed RoboCop about Lewis in that. But she's also able to be like kind of a hard ass as a cop all at the same time.
Mm. No, very true.
You know, like when she is like grabbing the prisoner that they had earlier when he's handcuffed, and even when she is going toe to toe with him in the uh, in the mindscape, like that's a like she's nervous, like she's not totally sure she can even pull this off, but there's a hardened sense to her, and I'm sure some of that comes from her upbringing.
Mm. Well, it makes remake Lewis even more embarrassing. And it's already really embarrassing in
Oh my
that
god.
movie.
I try not to think of that about that.
I mean, it's also easy to forget that Lewis is even in that movie.
I just try not to think about that movie.
Yeah.
Slipmaker
Yeah.
says the weight scene is the only big blemish on this movie for me, but the awesome low ammo fight right before it makes up for it. He says the weight scene is just such corny villain stuff.
I don't know, it's kind of what I like about it. Like, I like that we have that kind of, goofy action movie moment.
This movie definitely gets away with some stuff that would irritate me more in other things. Like, we do have a Judge Dredd that's a little one-linery, but he's so dry about it.
Hmm. Well, I feel like without some of that stuff, it goes too far into like the gritty reboot of Judge Dredd. Like, I do
Yeah.
want some of that sillier stuff in it. Like, if we're not gonna go as far as other things from it, like I'm glad there's at least a little bit.
It's not taking itself too seriously. But it rides the line.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't hear where he's coming from though, just because there's not a lot of exactly that kind of thing before that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, no, for sure.
he might be saying, or he might be feeling like the setup for it is just kind of too easy.
It's too easy. Yeah.
I mean,
No, I like that guy. Just he's the speech man. That's what he does. Like I said.
how do you feel about the way he takes her out here?
Um. Yeah, I'm not sure about him giving her the drug. Like that is very much like the action movie, like poetic death
It's
thing.
got to be poetic justice, yeah.
I'm not sure if he would actually do that, but like as a movie,
That was the big
uh,
thing I questioned about it.
mm,
And it also seems like maybe the obvious thing. Like we saw that, like she did that to her minions that double crossed her earlier in the movie, and so that's how
one.
she's got to uh, she's got to go out the same way and experience the terror of that herself.
Yeah, maybe it like that kind of slowdown would stop her like heart from going out or something in the fall. Maybe it's like maybe that you could have like a logical answer with it with that.
Yeah, because as it is, I that doesn't make. Oh, this glass looks kind of bad. As it as it is, that doesn't really have anything to do, I don't think, with the detonator. I think it's supposed to just be he knows she'll be out of range of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I mean is, like, maybe the slow mo, like maybe she would have like a heart attack or something and die on the way down without that. You could maybe see it like from that angle, I guess.
Well, you know how I would have done it. Tell me what you think of this. I wonder if she might not be screwed up enough to do it to herself.
Yeah, you could have done something like that, I
Where,
guess.
like, she takes it on
Maybe
the way
also
down.
would have been contrived.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Or, because, I mean, like you said, she's not really a physical threat. So I don't think it's a problem that he comes in and dispatches of her pretty quickly. Like, she's putting all these barriers up. She knows that the point he gets to her, she's dead. What if she was just already on it when he came in? Like, do they even really have to have an exchange necessarily? That'd be the other way to do it.
I guess they do, because she has to explain what that heart monitor is. Otherwise, it's them walking in and him being like, she's high, but she's got a heart monitor.
That's true. And then the only other way to handle that would have been maybe to have them take the tech guy with them, and then he could exposit that.
Mm-hmm. No, as an action movie, I think it works really well.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not sure about him doing it.
So I usually avoid this, but I'm going to complain about a subtitle. If you're watching this with subtitles, in that moment, right after she has the fall and it cuts back to them and it just says, yeah. The subtitles say yeah with an exclamation point. So if you're not hearing it, you're imagining he's going, yeah!
Yeah! Okay!
I'm glad you're dead.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're dead. And it's like the John Wick.
Yeah. Okay, so let's watch for this and see exactly how we write her out here. I also meant to mention right at the beginning, I really love that bit where she's reading his mind and she hasn't even met him yet and can't even see him yet. And it's like, there's this other judge and he has this control, and behind the control there's something else, and we have to guess at what she means by that. Like, is it compassion? Like, what is it exactly? Mm-hmm. And that's the closest to really getting into his head we get.
Well, in the Taika Waititi version, that something else will be he likes collecting unicorn plushies, and we'll go to his house and see that, and he'll be like, yeah, I know I stopped crime, but I also love unicorns.
So she goes with the paramedics.
What's the scene after this, too?
And then, no, I know. I'm just breaking this down of what we're actually seeing, because then he's walking away. I thought everything stayed in this. Okay, and then we get his voiceover at the end. I didn't think we saw her again after this.
I'm pretty sure it's her at the end that gets on the motorcycle and drives away, because it looked smaller.
Okay. So just that shot is supposed to tell us that she's staying as a cop. Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, she's going off into duty now.
See, I thought she was
just
got
a helmet.
She's got a helmet.
Too.
That's why. I'm dumb.
And then I'm pretty sure it's her on the bike, but it could be either or. It doesn't really matter.
Nope.
But
nope, you're right. There's no ambiguity there at all. I've done this for too long. I just suck at my job now. It's fine. So
yeah, you go to the ISO cubes for that one.
No, I am a lot. So when they first get together, and they get locked down in the giant building, I think it's hilarious that Dredd doesn't think to mention her lack of helmet until they're trapped together like that, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't bring your helmet," and she's like, "Well, it makes it hard to do the telepathy thing," and he's like, "Well, a bullet might get through." I like that exchange a lot.
Yeah, that is really good.
But I think it's funny that
it gives a reason for why he doesn't take his off.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, I don't think
I like that we don't have the Mandalorian in it, where we get the one token scene where he takes it off. I am glad that he has it the whole time.
Yeah. We've already seen how violent and horrible this place is, so I don't think we need a verbal reason that he doesn't take his helmet off. Like, I wouldn't take my helmet off. God.
Even when I'm off duty, I'm not taking my helmet off. In this world,
I might have, I don't know, maybe it would have been a little bit too clunky to have her carry it around and take it on and off, but they could have done a thing where whenever she uses her telepathy she takes it off, but he never takes his off. They could have done that.
When the Taika Waititi one, it'll be a nano tech helmet that materializes on and then materializes off.
Yeah. Can we stop talking about them? Can you just assume this will not get made? I don't want to talk about that anymore. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat.
Everything so that when it happens, I'm right.
Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. Taika Waititi is making the sequel. Is this real? Austin said he looked this up, and I looked it up too, and it appears to be real. So yeah.
And it's a reboot. It's not a sequel.
It's a reboot.
That's the only difference. But yeah, Taika Waititi currently is making one, but who knows?
Even if he cast Urban, I wouldn't begin to trust that. Hard pass for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel like the best place to take this is TV. I think this would make for a really good streaming show, HBO show.
Absolutely.
Not even this version. I just mean Judge Dredd in general. Just adapting this material.
And I'd love to see it go both anthology and serialized. I think it'd be cool if they handed off kind of like X-Files, where you got a lot of just one episode missions, and then you could do a 3-parter.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of the way to do it.
I'd love that kind of thing. Hey, real quick, I want to go back to the... Say it again.
Procedural.
I want to go back to the conversation we were having about helmets, though, because I do think for the contrast we're doing between what I'm calling dual protagonists, you do kind of want her to have to be able to see her face the whole time, as opposed to Dredd, where she's an open book and he's completely sealed off.
Walled off.
And that gives you that sense of she's total compassion, and you're questioning that with him. The other thing I wanted to mention about helmets is I did have, and I meant to mention it when we got to that scene, and I totally forgot about it. There is one peculiar logical question, Austin, which is when they have the prisoner that they've been carrying around with that actor who has to have his hands tied behind his back the whole movie. I would hate to be that guy. And they've got him pretending to be a judge. Where the hell did that helmet come from? Where did they get it? Where does it go? That is cartoon logic.
Yeah.
And at first I thought
Judge Dredd, when he takes his helmet off, there is another helmet underneath. So he just took the first helmet off.
That's what I was going to say is, at first I thought maybe that would be the one place where he takes his helmet off, but you don't see it with it off. But he's standing right next to him with his helmet. Where did they get that other helmet? I'm so confused.
Is it from the two judges that came that got killed?
We don't see him take one off of one of them, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is there a scene missing?
Maybe.
That's possible. That's the
That's the
only.
scene where he takes his helmet off and there's another helmet.
It's the only thing like that I found.
They were like, Alex Garland is way too silly.
Captain Coon, here's a fun question. Do you think this proves you can do a live action Batman with the white eyes or no? I mean, I don't know why this would prove that. The man's got a helmet the whole time with no pupils or anything.
I guess we're saying like you lose the eye acting.
Oh, is that why you're saying that?
I think so. Yeah, I personally don't think the white eyes would work on Batman. I it's hard to say because you never want to say never.
Yeah. But also,
I
I don't think this proves anything because Dredd and Batman are such different
No.
characters. Like,
no, and the thing that I look at
there's an
that I think
inherent
proves-
compassion to Batman all along, and with Dredd, it's supposed to be more of a question mark.
No, and the thing that makes me think it doesn't work is Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know that the white eyes works with a half mask. I think it works with a full mask. When Jackman puts his mask on, I like completely lose him, and I feel like you can see his mouth, and it's like CGI on top. And I know his mask isn't actually CGI.
Well,
But,
and
like-
I certainly wouldn't have wanted that the whole movie. Like, that just
Yeah.
felt like fan service because that's what it was. And so when people are like, oh, doesn't it look great? And I'm like, in a cosplay kind of way, like, it's fun to see. I don't think dramatically it really works.
No, I feel like you want to do the Dark Knight / like Mr. Terrific thing, where just like for a reason he's doing something, the eyes go white. As opposed to having it the whole time. And then it also depends on like the version. Like the Pattinson is such an eye actor in the Batman that like you wouldn't want to lose that in a sequel.
You know what it does prove, though? And I meant to say this earlier. It does prove that you can make a Batman movie or a lot of different superhero things, and especially if they're street-level crime dramas, for less than $100 million. It does prove that. Like, this even does it futuristic.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that it's not really futuristic. Like, that is part of the kind of Nolan aesthetic, is that it is kind of just regular city, but there's, like, big buildings in between. But there's, like, plenty of city shots where, like, it just looks like a city.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But it's still got to have, like, bikes and outfits and stuff.
For sure.
Like, I really respect just how minimal this thing is, like what it's able to pull off for 35-40 million. And yeah, it's cutting corners from what you'd want for a Judge Dredd movie, but just, I don't know, simple action movie, like action movie making, ignoring what the actual material is. It's just really impressive to me what they pull off with that amount of money.
Yeah, for sure. I actually didn't realize it was that much. Like when you were saying that it's really cheap, I assumed it was lower. But no, that's fair.
Well, I still think you see all of that on the screen, though.
No, I agree.
But you can also see the corners that they have to cut in getting it to that. I also don't know what they paid Urban.
I mean, he's more of like a character actor. Like, I doubt he charges that much.
Yeah. I'm sure half of it didn't go to him.
No.
You think he did it for 5? He probably did it for 5.
Let's see. I can probably find this out.
Oh, maybe so. I forgot. We live in the future. Like Judge Dredd.
Exactly. And every bit of information is online.
And you can trust all of it, too.
Exactly.
By the way. No need to question the Googles. Especially no reason to question AI. If AI says it. Dan's dead. It's quite cheap by usual comic book and superhero movie standards. Yeah, but I mean, Austin does make a good point. In thinking that it was maybe even less, given all the, again, alien and robot stuff that they have to avoid.
So one thing says it's never been disclosed, and another thing says 20 million. And I feel like wasn't paid that much.
I'm telling you, that's half the movie's budget, which means if he did get paid that much, it's even more impressive to me what this movie pulls off.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't think he took 20 million for that.
No, I don't think so either.
It also seems like it was kind of a passion thing for him, at least to some degree. So I mean, like, I think he really wanted to do this part, and he's obviously been like pushing to bring it back forever. I also
he still talks about it.
I don't think he's too old yet. I mean, I still think he could do it now.
No.
It helps he's got a helmet on, dude. Like, as long as
it also helps that he kind of hasn't aged. Like,
not
he still
much.
looks good.
Yeah, like, as long as he's still, is fit enough and agile enough to do the action stuff.
And
Like,
even then,
just in a practical,
you only see his chin. Like, it's easy to get around that.
Well, yeah, that's true. You just put stunt actors in it all the time. Yeah, like, that's way easier for a thing like this than like Keanu Reeves, who's pushing 60, still making like these crazy action movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, if Lionsgate makes it again, they can do Dredd versus John Wick.
That sounds great. I would watch the crap out of that. I don't even know how that makes any sense. Like, I don't know how you make that crossover happen, but I'll watch that. That sounds great.
Who's in John Wick 5? He just lives in Mega City 1. He like moves there. He's like, I faked my death and moved to Mega City, Mega Block.
Mega Blocks. That's how Batman Begins-ish it actually is that it turns out they're not even in the future. It's just a city. Yeah. It's surrounded by
John Wick, you're in the Mega Blocks.
It's surrounded by wasteland that was created by nuclear war, but it happened over there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Did you just shoot at a judge? Yeah, I'm thinking I did. And then they fight.
Yeah. Like, Judge Death kills his dog.
Oh, there you go. Now we're talking.
Okay, let's go to...
Rob Schneider's there.
But Taika Waititi is not there. He is not there.
No.
Let's go to... Shut up, Austin. He's not there. So, let's go on now to mini reviews from Patreon and Discord. And once again, if you would like to get to leave these, they're... Patreon.com/geekvolution, the I think $5 tier lets you put in tweet-length reviews, and we're going to check those out right now. And I think actually today I opened it up to all of Patreon because on accident, so we've got more of them than usual. Because what are you laughing at?
I pulled up the Patreon reviews and Captain Coon just posted on it like a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Of the Halo clip of Master Chief pulling his helmet off, and there's another helmet under it. And I just was not prepared for that to be the first thing that popped up when I clicked on it.
But anyway, what I was saying is the Patreon app has always been terrible, let me just say. It's got new weird problems all the time. It will, I really appreciate Patreon as a platform, as a resource. I've used it forever, but they've always had bad online interface. And one thing it will do is the app will claim that I have a different number of patrons and a different monthly dollar amount than the web version, and like regularly, it always thinks that Patreon is that we're getting more money from Patreon than we actually are. It's hilarious. I don't know why. But anyway, what it's been doing lately is not giving me the option for tiers like it usually does when you send out a post. So it's supposed to set it up so that I'm only sending it to certain tiers that are subscribing for the thing I'm doing. And the last couple times I've sent out posts, it hasn't given me that, and so I've just hit publish, expecting it would show up after that, and it doesn't. And so it went to everybody. So some of you guys get a freebie with this one, but I guess I'm gonna have to start going back to the web-based version because the app is all messed up.
Beautiful. We love to see it.
Anyway, I don't know why I explained all of that. Okay, how many do you have on Discord, Austin?
3 plus that helmet video.
Okay, I've got 6, so why don't I start? Daniel Davis says, Dredd is a great example of a movie that gets the most bang for its bucks. Its bucks. What this movie may lack in flashy set pieces or big sets, it more than, and I don't think they built sets. I think everything is location with this, or at least a lot of it. It more than makes up for an atmosphere, tone, and casting. This is the perfect comic book movie, and I continue to be impressed by it each time I rewatch it. It's a shame it bombed, and we never got a sequel, but I'm glad it got made in the first place. Legend.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, why don't you rewind?
Okay, so from Subject 879, aka John, he says, a simple idea that's perfectly executed. This is one of the best action movies of the 2010s. Karl Urban and Olivia Thirlby are fantastic as Dredd and Anderson. It's too bad we never got a sequel. Rating superhero.
Bag says, an awesome action flick that is the poster child for simple done well simply. Simple well done simply. Hero.
Simple, well done, simply. Beautiful.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
On the box.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Austin.
From Doolittle, he says, I love this movie. What a banger. Alex Garland really understands Dredd's Dredd and uses a self-contained operation to explore pertinent social matters. Great action, too. Rating superhero.
So I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking about production stuff, Austin, but the actual director, this is one of those situations where that's Pete Travis, where he got locked out of the editing bay.
Oh,
it's another one of those, and he and Alex Garland butted heads real hard. All I could get was like no details. All I saw about that was that Garland didn't like the way he was shooting certain things. So I don't know if it was like a cinematography thing. I don't know what his deal was. But ultimately, it seems like he was pretty responsible for getting the actual director locked out. But then there's also talk that after that, like they still collaborated some. So I don't really understand how the whole thing went down, but because of how much on-set work Garland ended up doing, he almost got co-director credit.
Mm-hmm. It's so fascinating. Well, then, because recently Garland said he was kind of done directing, and then he co-directed Warfare, which is a great movie.
Is it
from this year? Yeah, it was really good. So I don't know if he's gonna keep directing or if he's going back to writing. Obviously, he's writing all 3 of the new 28 Years movies, and he's not directing any of them.
Yeah. No, this is one of those guys that retroactively I'm realizing I'm more of a fan of than I knew, because he's done some things that I didn't realize they were all him. So I didn't know he made Annihilation. I love that film.
Yeah, and I'm more hit or miss, I would say, on Garland. He's made things that I really like, and then some that I don't really like.
Well, so I've not seen Civil War, and this is a case where there is a superhero movie that's called Civil War, but we're talking about a movie that
a different Civil War
doesn't have Captain America in it. So Civil War was a movie that I had no interest in when I saw previews for it, and then people told me it was really good, and then I was like, maybe I'll check it out, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And now that I know it's him, I'm more curious about it. Ex Machina.
Yeah, and I like that a lot.
So Ex Machina is his actual directorial debut, and people really high on that movie. When I finally saw it, I wasn't deeply impressed with it. I thought it was fine, but like I didn't get what all the hubbub was about, and I've not seen his other 2 movies, so I might be hit and miss with him too. It's just
That's fair.
I've not seen enough of his movies. Like there's one I saw that I wasn't as impressed with, and then 28 Days Later, of course, I like a lot, but as far as the stuff he wrote, and then Sunshine, I never cared for.
Okay, I'm not even sure.
He wrote this coming off of Sunshine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of Annihilation and I really didn't like Men. And then Ex Machina I've never seen, but I really, really liked Civil War and I liked Warfare, and I like this a lot.
Okay.
And 28 Days Later is good.
Oh, so you and I just don't agree on Annihilation.
Yeah, it's like the one, yeah. But I mean, the rest of those we agree on, I would say.
Dan's Den, Garland just announced he's making a Dead Space film.
I forgot about that. That does bring a tear to my eye because John Carpenter almost made a Dead Space movie, but at least it's getting made in some way.
I can see why you'd be sad about that, but this guy's not a bad choice for that.
No. He is a good choice for that.
And I love a good Dead Space movie.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, sorry, we gotta finish reading these. Okay, great. This movie is awesome. Great cast, great action, great one-liners. A day in the life adventure with Judge Dredd. That's true. That's what it is. Legend, he says. Good, Austin.
Very good. Captain Coon, love this movie. Watching it on YouTube as a 13-year-old while pretending to look for his gym shoes was the best way to spend a gym class. Absolutely perfect. No notes. I have many questions about that.
I'm in a stage in my life where looking at adults that are half my age, I'm going, I can't even imagine like going to school and having movies in my pocket like that. I just can't even imagine that.
Well, I'm more so it was on YouTube. That already kind of surprised me. You were able to watch it all on YouTube. B, that your gym class was long enough that you were able to watch it. And C, you were able to watch it the whole time. Everyone thought you were just getting your gym shoes.
For 90 minutes? Where is he? I don't know. He just can't find those damn shoes.
Oh, he's getting look at his damn shoes. I don't know.
Slipmaker, please read in your best Karl Urban Dredd voice. No. Dredd 3D.
Aww.
I don't want to do that because Austin's. If I was doing it by myself, I would, but I'm going to be all self-conscious because Austin's here.
I promise Stoneface I will dread it. And in fact, I will even cover my eyes like that.
Oh, wow, look, he's Judge Dredd. That is the best Judge Dredd impression I've ever seen. He's even trying to do the frown. No, I just...
Okay, so I'm going to do the face you read
I've never attempted to do this voice, so I don't like doing voices for the first time. He's still... I wish we had him doing it but then he wouldn't be able to read it. Because, he's got his face... Sorry, I just... Okay, anyway. I don't know if I can do it, Austin.
Just do it. We're both in on it.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to get all growly.
You're okay. You got it.
Dredd.
We believe in you, Cap.
Dredd. Hang on. I'm trying to find my Dredd. Okay. Dredd 3D for spectacular action set pieces, simple and clean storytelling, and for sneaking the theme song to the niche British sketch comedy Snuffbox into the background of a scene. Your sentence is legend. I should have read that.
We did it.
I should have read that before I said it out loud because I was not expecting to have to say Snuffbox.
No, I had to really get it together. I'm like, okay, don't break. Don't break.
British sketch comedy, Snuffbox.
He should have said that in the movie. There's already a couple things that are funny, to hear him saying that voice. Like you said, Mega Blocks. Another big one is when he goes,
Mega Blocks.
Mama Gang.
Mama Gang. Well, Snuffbox should be one of the weapons that he has to call into his arm. It's like Snuffbox.
I don't want to know what that shoots
Yeah, what
out.
does it do?
I don't want to know.
Anyway, do you have any more?
The last one I had was just this, if you can see it, from Captain Coon.
So good. Okay, Killer Moth returns. Sometimes my old man will call me up and say, "Mama, judgment time," then hang up. It was the sickest.
I hope he says that to your mom.
It was the sickest
Mama,
theater
judgment
experience
time.
we'd ever had. Effing legend. And Joe Turner says, flawless doesn't mean perfect. This isn't the best movie ever, but I have literally no complaints about it. Dredd is exactly what it needed to be, and I've never met anyone who didn't like it. It honors the source material and is straightforwardly entertaining, all on a relatively small budget. Alex Garland sure makes it look easy, doesn't he? Might be a legend.
Very good.
I think flawless is a synonym for perfect.
Yeah, probably.
Like, flawless doesn't mean perfect. I think it does, though. I think it has no flaws.
Mm-hmm.
It is perfect. Now, you could say flawless doesn't mean as brilliant or important or great as other movies. Like, I have this with stuff like The Crow, where I gave that, and I know I like that movie more than you do, Austin, but, like, when I first did a rewind on it, I gave that a 4 because I just couldn't find anything wrong with it. And I was like, I don't even like this as well as some other things, but I'm like, I can't find anything I would change about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's relative.
No, I mean, I agree with that.
Oh my god, the rain is coming down like crazy here. Just all of a sudden.
It's like rain on Dredd Day.
On Dread Day. Alright, let's find out what our ratings are going to be, and then we'll rank these movies, or this movie, Austin.
Yeah.
You go first, man.
Well,
Because I don't want to.
And I don't want to. Yeah, because I mean, I agree. Like, this is a movie I would say is like pretty flawless. But I also at the same time feel like you could make a better Dredd movie, even though this movie is really great. I'm gonna go with superhero. I'm between superhero and a legend. I think I'm gonna go superhero. I like this movie a lot. It's really great.
Yeah, I'm real back and forth on it too. I like the thing that's holding me back a little bit with Legend is the thing you were talking about earlier. Like I'm struggling a bit with how much more comic booky I kind of wish this was, but then I also want to hold it on its own terms because it's really effective for what they made.
Yeah, no,
You know?
exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
like, if it had the aesthetic I want, it wouldn't even be this movie. And that's what I'm
No,
kind of
this just
struggling
as what
with.
they were making is like the perfect example of it.
Version
Like,
of that, yeah.
yeah.
And so, like, beyond that, I don't even really know what I would change about it. Like, I do feel like I'm in a bit of a crow place with it.
Yeah.
I will take it to Legend. I will go that far. I haven't had cause to give out a lot of those yet, and you didn't do it, and I'm surprised you didn't do it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to Legend.
Well, especially because I'm usually such a legend slut, but this time I held off.
Well, and I figured this
But it's
would
like right on the edge.
I figured this would be a bigger movie for you than me. But I just can't find much wrong with it. Like, this probably is more your kind of film than mine.
Yeah, probably. And one, I rewatch it more than you do too, as we've already established.
Well, yeah, because I've not. Well, and I think that's part of where I'm at with it. Because I haven't
When I
seen it
think
so
that's
long that it was kind of a big deal to see it again and go, oh, it is still that good. Like,
I think it's also maybe what held me off from going to Legend is that it's one that I don't think of for going back to a lot. So I was like,
Sure.
maybe I'll just bring it to superhero because of that. Where it's like I do really love this movie, but at the same time, it's like there is a bunch of other things I would go back to first. But
I think the
yeah,
main reason I haven't gone back to this, Austin, is just because when I look at the side of this box, it looks like the only thing in here is Drive Angry.
well, no, I love the like. I assume from the side it's Dredd Drive Angry. Like it makes it sound like he's driving angry.
It is, yes, but the print with Drive Angry is this like bright white, and so you just see that, and then like the red Dredd kind of fades, the background. So you see this on your shelf, you don't even think about Dredd. All you're seeing is Drive Angry.
Red's Dredd, baby. Red's Dredd.
All right, let's see where we're ranking these. I currently have it, and I'm not being consistent as far as the rating with these.
It's
So like, there's stuff above this. Say it again.
It's impossible to be consistent.
I think so too, because if I was consistent, that would mean that everything above this has to be a legend, and I don't think they all are, although several of them are. But I have it currently at the number 11 spot, right under Blade and, or I'm sorry, right above Blade and right under Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
So it
What's also fitting
just doesn't quite crack my top 10.
I've been saying for the longest time, this is the movie that the new Blade should be looking at. Like,
oh sure,
replace the tower with like small European village, and then just do Vampire Dread. Like it's right there.
Yeah, why not? And it wouldn't have to look like a ripoff of this because there's all kinds of different things you could do with it. And he'd have already just
swapping genres too. Like it's
I was gonna say already having a supernatural
female villain.
Already having a supernatural component would separate you. What would you say about a female villain?
Well, because that has a female villain. Because they cast Mia Goth as Lilith.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. Okay, let's see where Austin has ranked this. Oh my God, did you do the same thing I did? No, I'm looking at. Or do I just have myself twice? No, this is you. This is you. You also. Sorry, we put it in the same place, and I'm shocked by that. You also have it at 11.
When I moved it slightly, I had it at 10, and then I thought about it more and more, and I went, okay, it's a better movie than Warzone, but I go back to Warzone more, so I was like, I feel like my heart of heart says.
But you have me at a disadvantage because I don't even know what Warzone is. And I'm not sure why you listed it here because it's not a superhero movie. So
yeah, it's some movie.
Some movie. No, this is fascinating. I think this is a monumental moment. I don't think we have ever ranked at exactly the same spot before.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So you have
even then,
it.
I'm like, my 10 and 11 are like that. So
you have it right under Punisher Warzone, which is fitting because of how much you brought that up. And you have it right above Captain Invincible, which is totally fair. Yeah, really respectable. I'm surprised you still got Hercules at 9. Like
I love Hercules. Like,
it's really good.
It's just a part of my heart.
No, you really changed my mind on that.
Yeah.
I appreciated that a lot when we watched it together. But
I just rewatched it the other day. I love that movie. But yeah, I see I feel kind of equal to this and Punisher Warzone. So that's why I'm like, they're at least like side by side. I like these movies a lot.
I just can't believe we both put it at 11. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is crazy. It's nuts, if you will.
Well, anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We're gonna reveal our next movie commentary, and then it's gonna be a couple of weeks before we get to it because we're about to launch into Spooky Mania starting next week. So we're gonna have 2 full weeks of blind commentaries on Halloween and or Halloween tangential movies, horror movies. And then we'll come back at the start of November and do another one. And Austin, tell everybody, we picked it this time instead of going to a poll. And Austin, tell everybody what we have chosen.
Well, speaking of snuts, next time on Rewind, we are doing Iron Man.
Why did you say it like that?
Because I was like leading people on, like they're gonna be like, "Oh, what's it gonna be?" Like, "Oh, is it gonna be the Sonic?" "Oh, it's Iron Man."
It's
What
Iron
does that have
Man.
to do with anything?
Nothing at all. We haven't
Bait and
done.
switch.
So this will be our 52nd commentary, and we've done almost no MCU so far.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
just did our updated MCU ranking video, and so I had Iron Man on my brain because of that, and I was like, it'd be nice to finally get to that because I haven't done anything
Mm-hmm.
on that movie in a real long time, so I felt like that was the right one to do.
Yeah, no, that'll be a good one. And we've technically done a commentary on that together just for Patreon.
I didn't even remember that. Is that true?
Yes, because
For Patreon?
You found that thing that was the like descriptive like
Oh,
commentary or whatever.
I.
That's where the silver and gold comes from.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and you were like, "What movie should we do? Let's do Iron Man." And I was like, "I don't know. I feel like if we do Iron Man, it'll just end up being a commentary on Iron Man." And then it just kind of ended up being that. But yeah.
I completely forgot that's the movie we did. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, well, I don't remember that or anything I said in it, and
Well, that
very
was a
few
long
people
time
have
ago
heard that.
now. Yeah,
That
that
would
was
have
a
been
long
3 or 4
time
years
ago
ago now.
now.
Nicholas Bodo, you did Civil War, First Avenger, and Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, but that's
Mhm.
3 out of 52 in a film series that has 37 movies. So I stand by, it at least feels like we've hardly done any MCU yet.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, Cap, I was thinking about this the other day. When we eventually get to Howard the Duck, you will be the only channel and person on the planet that's done 4 commentaries on Howard the Duck.
Is that true?
It is true, yeah. So
I
I said
I
that
have
on our
3 right
Discord.
now?
You have 3 right now, yeah.
I didn't
So
know
I
that.
said that. I said that to somebody on the Discord, and they said, "Oh man, 4 commentaries on Howard the Duck, like they're the only YouTube channel that you can say that about." And I said, "You could say that if it was only one, too."
Yeah, it's true. I know I
Yeah,
did
you will have
one.
4 commentaries on that.
I know I did one with Duke a long time ago because he and I were going through bad superhero movies, but I don't know what the other one was.
Marvel Mania.
Oh, of course. I wasn't even thinking
Hmm.
about that. And then Jason and I just did his blind watch. That's true.
Yep,
Crazy.
and then we'll do one for Rewind. So yeah, you'll have 4 commentaries on the greatest movie of all time,
Well,
besides Iron Man 2.
you'll finally get to be in one.
I just like to think that you'll just keep making them without me. You'll just have more and more, and it's like it's the build-up.
Well, once again, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Look forward to Iron Man. That'll be a lot of fun to do. And as always, I'm going to say thanks to all of our Patreon producers. And I'm going to read everybody's names as dramatically as I can. I guess now that I'm feeling slightly more confident, I could do it in a Judge Dredd voice.
Okay, so
I just got. I just gotta pull this up real quick.
oh,
Everybody,
okay.
everybody, bear with me for a second, because I didn't have this one up already, and it takes a minute. But yeah, thanks a lot to everybody that supports the channel in any way that you do that. We really appreciate you, and thanks for helping us keep this nonsense going. But we especially want to thank all of our Patreon producers. That's $10 and up. And once again, if you want to become a producer, patreon.com/geekvolution, $10 tier lets you do that. But we want to say thanks so very much to Jesse Surtees, Joe Gira, Chewbacca's Lover, Justin Hayes, Victor, Super Billy, Elliot Slater, Doctor Hello, Goofster123, Joe Turner, Slipmaker, Vic, Apocalypse, Killer Moth Returns, Matthew Brody, Abix Stark, Kareem Roberts, Damon Begay, Adam March, Cereal When Pigs Fly, Hot Soup, Michael Martin, Gate Blaze, the Captain Coon, and John Sandoval. Wow, John's at the end of this now.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan, and this was Austin. Join us next week for Spooky Mania. What's our first movie for Spooky Mania, Austin?
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the one that only I will care about, but...
Why are we starting with that?
I don't know. Well, at least if we start with that, we start with the oldest and with the newest, so we do have like some sort of wraparound.
Yeah, I think Jarrett's right. I think I was doing more of a Kevin Conroy. I got to work on that. I've never attempted that voice. I gotta listen to that closer.
Now say Andrea.
But I gotta yell it.
Yeah. Well, exclamation point at like Dredd.
oh, Andrea.
That's more like
Andrea.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. Yeah. I got to get some breath in it. Anyway, we're leaving now. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon. I was Captain Logan. This is Austin. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.